3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone-stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com.
GrokTALK.
All right, GrokTALK. Lots to talk about. Busy show. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the podcast. For those of you who are listening after we've recorded it, we have lots of folks on today. Guy Comtois is going to give us legislative updates. Susan Olson will be in with the Second Amendment update. Jane Cormier will be here with the Right to Life update. We have a host of national guests today. Dennis Michael Lynch, who is a potential presidential candidate, but he is better known as an entrepreneur and documentary filmmaker. Dr. Jeffrey Singer returns to talk about electronic health records. Mark Meckler, a co-founder of Tea Party Patriots, and has a new group. We're going to talk about some things with him. And hopefully, if he gets off the plane in time, Senator Ted Cruz will be joining us later on this morning to discuss whatever we want to talk about.
Absolutely, and that's what I told his advance lady last night. Say, well, who's going to be there? Who's going to be asking him questions? And I listed off you and Mike and myself, and said, well, we talk about stuff of the day, but we always bring it down to principles. For instance, the 47 senators that sent that letter to the Iranian mullahs made Obama skyrocket. And I said, well, we could talk about that, but then we want to bring it down to why. What were the principles behind that? So that's the kind of talk we'll hopefully have today with him, and maybe again tomorrow.
We're gonna see Senator Cruz a couple times this month, and we will keep you apprised of when that will happen and where you can tune in. Don't forget to check us out on Stitcher, iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn. We would also like you to go to Facebook and find Granite Grok and like us and check out what we're doing there. And we are also on Twitter at Granite Grok.
Correct.
So, Guy's on the phone. Let's talk to Guy, because a lot happened this week. How you doing, Guy? Hang on. Try that again. How you doing, Guy?
Good, Steve. How are you?
Great. So let's talk about this week. Lots of things happening.
Oh, God. It's just,
That's a great way to start, Guy.
Another busy week in legislative paradise. Let's hear it.
oh, man, it's just horrible up there. It really is. We have some...
You got Jaspered again?
Huh?
You got Jaspered again?
Yeah. Well, I got up to talk on a bill, and he got all... I went up to the last minute, which you're not supposed to do, but happens, because a lot of times you're working with somebody on the floor trying to get something tabled or back and forth, and then you're not planning on speaking, but at the last minute, it's all right. I'm gonna go up there and throw a few punches, and he kind of got all huffy and puffy at me. Things that I've watched him do over the last 4 years, all of a sudden now is bad berries, But we got things going on. Like, for instance, when there's a bill coming out of committee. When you exec the bill and vote whether it ought to pass or ITL.
Exec.
Okay. In executive committee, right, when you exec it, you write blurbs for the calendar. You write a majority blurb why you think it should do one thing or another, and the minority writes the blurb for what they think. We have, in a Republican House, Democrats write majority blurbs.
Yeah,
okay?
I noted that, yes.
So in other words, he's got the committees pushing to get it to go along with the Democrats and allowing the Democrats to write blurbs. It doesn't happen. A Democrat speaker would never allow a Republican to write a majority blurb.
No, and this really is, one of the things that I think it's more intense up here this time around in Concord with the Democrats controlling the Republican agenda. But we're seeing it in D.C. as well. And I have to keep bringing it up, and I know that the GOP elite don't like it, but what good are they compared to the Democrats when the Democrats are running their agenda? I mean, you guys must be absolutely livid sitting there in the House.
Oh, it is. It's terrible. It's just these bills that if Bill O'Brien was speaker, would be just sailing through because what happens a lot is when you have your rhinos have cover, which in other words, like in Belknap County, we have say 18 Republicans, and it's not happening this time around too much, but like 4 years ago, we had 18 Republicans and 8 rhinos. Well, it's harder to cut spending that way when you have that type of situation because Republicans voting Republicans doesn't make a lot of noise, a lot of news, you know what I mean? So in other words, if Republicans voting to spend, and there's 10 Republicans voting to spend, well, that's not news. But if you get 2 Democrats up there, okay, it actually helps you out because they don't want to be with the Democrats voting to spend. So reluctantly, they will vote with the conservatives. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what we have is that right now they got plenty of cover because there's no heat for going along with the Democrats. I mean, we're getting bills that are getting killed up there that should sail through. I mean, and they're getting killed in committee intentionally. I mean, they're being told what to do. Everything's orchestrated. And you're right. He didn't get all the Democrats' votes without having to pay back something. Okay? And, there's no push on social bills. There's no nothing. They don't want anything coming out favorable. I mean, it does happen every now and then, but it's just a Mocus-type Washington scene.
So let's talk about the bills this week. There were a couple that were pretty important. We had some on right to know. There was a fetal homicide bill. There was, it was a bunch of stuff. It seemed like a lot of stuff hit the news this week.
Yeah, the fetal homicide bill passed.
Yes.
But, I don't think he cared one way or the other on that, or whether they're going to throw us a bone. But, yeah, the fetal homicide bill passed. Right to work passed by 5 votes. Not that really matters. They excluded police and firemen from it.
The actual people we need are the ones that they excluded. That's great.
Yeah. But, it was just like tossing a pitch, I mean, everybody knows it won't go anywhere. Right to know. What day was right to know? Because I'm going in for back surgery in 2 weeks. I had pre-op.
Sorry,
One day I wasn't there.
I think it's Wednesday. Was it
Okay.
Wednesday?
Unsure.
Well, yeah, HB 646. HB 646. There was also a 285. HB 285 would have made anything that a lawyer wrote a letter about able to become private session, not public, and HB 646 was the one that would have allowed the municipality or the public body to pre-charge for anticipated labor to retrieve the requested information.
Yeah.
Yes.
And HB 646 was tabled, but I don't know what happened to 285.
I don't remember. We had, I think, 200 bills that day.
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean, I remember the debate going on, the whole 9 yards, and I don't have my calendar in front of me because we'll write the yeas and nays on the calendar as we go through.
What did make an impression other than the whole Jasper Krat circus?
Oh, God. Nothing really. I mean, because, we with the conservatives, we just sit out back looking at each other. I mean, it's just I can't. Nothing that's going to be. How can I put it? It's Washington. It's nothing's coming out of there unexpected. Okay, and that's Washington. Everything is already orchestrated. Very, very seldom is there a surprise. And, we usually have surprises in the House because you never know. Even the last 2 years with Norelli speaker, we had some surprises. And everything, he's been there so long, Jasper. He's been there since the late 80s. He knows what's going on enough to make sure that they can orchestrate everything just the way they want it so that there are no surprises.
Yeah.
And if you put the right people in the committees, running the committees, then you most likely are going to get the results you want because with the amount of freshmen we have, I see some good freshmen taking the wrong road because they're unsure. They really don't understand how bad this really is, because, you hear about this in the press all the time, how bad politics are. And you're like, it really can't be that bad. And then you get up there, and I see the committee chairs moving things or doing a subcommittee for a bill and then putting a freshman in charge of the subcommittee. And then the departments come in and buffalo them. And they're not really sure that, they haven't figured out yet that, we're not there for the departments. And I tell them all the time, I try to tell the freshmen, we're not here to serve government departments. We are here to serve the people. And so it takes a little time to get that, that your feet under you on when it comes to that, this is the course, I'm sticking with it. Yeah. And these last-minute facts that they finally found. For instance, for the suppression law, use the suppressors to hunt. They put the committee chair, my committee chair, put a freshman in charge of the subcommittee, and then at the last minute, Fish and Game comes in and says, we got some new information on this. Yeah, well, this bill's been going on a month and a half, and you have new information on a suppressor, right? And so back and forth, the suppressor bill failed. And we had one of the leadership in committee saying that he was reading up on it, and he found out that suppressors increase accuracy.
What?
Yeah. And
they don't.
I forget what else, and so I raised my hand and said, I wasn't known for my physics in high school, but I do know that if you have absence of energy, you have absence of velocity, and you have less accuracy. I don't know where that came from. So a simple bill that should have just whizzed right through, that many people wanted, got tabled.
Now, the people involved in this fiasco, are they gun people that actually know what a suppressor is, what it does, that they've used it, they own one? I own one. I love it. I have it on I have a 22 little suppressor for one of my little handguns and my 22 rifle, so I can shoot, near my home without, really getting people's ire, because, even a 22 makes a loud popping sound. This one, basically, you don't even have to wear hearing protection. It's that quiet.
Yeah, that's what I was telling everybody up there. Why wake the neighbors when you don't have to? And the rep that was chairing the subcommittee is a freshman, a hunter. He's, all intents and purposes, is a good rep. But, like I said, there's no guidance. Because, it's you have to be there. It's just that you have to get your feet under you to say that, I can't get confused here, and we're not here to appease departments.
And that brings up a good point. When all of these departments come in, how well do the freshmen understand they are our employees, not our masters?
Not very much. I think a lot of times they kind of look up to them. I didn't when I get in, because I had been hardened for a while, going back and forth, being an activist for 20 years or so, that I kind of figured out that, that they're always great for statistics. Everything's a statistics. And, and my whole thing about a statistic is, a statistic's like a lamppost for a drunk. It's more for leaning on than it is for illumination, And so
the last refuge of the incompetent.
Right. And what we usually would do in a good house would caucus before committee, so that we could, if we're going into exec, we would have the Republican leader would call a caucus and would sit in there and would shore up the freshmen. You know what I mean? So if they had any last minute questions, you could answer them, and then 10 minutes later you're in committee and you're execing these, which is the best way to do it. But when you don't have all that, and somebody like myself can't get to every one of them, or I'm not even sure what they're thinking, I kind of think, by talking to this guy, he's okay, I don't have to worry about him, and then you get in there and all of a sudden they take a different path. And you know damn right well that if you would have talked to him about it, that everything would have been okay. So it's confusing. It's nothing is what it appears to be.
All right, Guy, we got to cut you loose. We're going to talk to Susan in a couple minutes. Thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to us.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. Talk to you next week.
All right, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is a repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at gerardatlarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
GrokTV.